Justice with Judge Mablean will be life, because in everything we do, it involves the law. You came to court to testify about what you heard, what you saw, and what you know.
She's fair.
I don't have a hearing problem. This ear works good. This one works even better.
She's firm.
I'm not responsible for that ticket, and I'm not going to pay for it.
Who says you're not going to pay for it? I make that decision, not you.
She's honest.
What you have to say?
All I have to
Nothing.
This is Justice with Judge Mablean. Laura Johnson is suing her neighbor, Marcia Collins, in the amount of $480. She says the defendant allowed her son to watch a scary movie that resulted in emotional distress requiring therapy. Ms. Collins says the plaintiff's son just needs to man up.
This is the matter of Laura Johnson versus Marcia Collins. And Ms. Johnson, you're suing Ms. Collins, your dear friend, for $480 in therapy costs that you incurred for your son, 11 years old, after her son took him to a scary movie.
Yes,
Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
So tell me about it.
Well, in February, which is like 6 months ago, me and my husband, we decided to take a little weekend vacation, and we left our 11-year-old son, Reese, in the hands of Marcia. And when we came back on that Sunday, our son looked like he had been sleeping. He had bags under his eyes, and he's just like, Mom, I just want to go home and go to sleep. So we put him into sleep, and around 2 o'clock in the morning, he wakes up hysterical, crying that Uncle Mr. was going to kill him. Some man, I guess that he killed kids in the trailer park, and I said, okay, go back to sleep, hon. You know, I'm trying to calm him down. It took like 10 minutes for him to get calmed down. The second night, he woke up doing the same thing, but this time he had wet the bed, saying that Uncle Mr. was underneath the bed. So I did some research, and I talked to him, and I'm like, okay, so what did you do over the weekend, hon? You never came home like this before. And he said, oh, we went to a movie, trailer park movie. So I went and looked it online. It was a rated R movie. It was a horror film.
Haunted trailer park?
Yes, ma'am. And it was a rated R movie. And my son, we don't allow him to watch rated R movies, so he's not, you know, never been exposed to anything like this. So this was
don't say I've never.
Well,
say I don't allow it.
I don't allow it.
And not to
Your
my
Honor.
knowledge.
That's right.
There you go.
Right.
You never know. Not
Yes.
to your knowledge.
Yes.
Okay.
And so this was kind of traumatic for him, and so I called Marcia and I let her know. Oh, but first, before I asked him about the movie, he had told me that that night her oldest son, who is 17-year-old Devin, had put on a clown mask and scared him. So not only did he watch this rated R movie, but he got scared as well. And they were laughing at him, thinking that this was a joke. So my son was basically, you know, at her house terrified for one whole night without me. So when I called her.
Hold on a second. Hold
Okay.
on. I'm going to give you an opportunity to speak. Trust me, I am.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So I called Miss Marcia and I let her know that, was she aware that her son had took him to watch this movie, and that not only about the rated R movie, but he was taunting him, scaring him. And she just blew it off. Oh, boys will be boys. Your son needs to grow up. He's the only child. I can tell you're overprotective. Like, she was being really selfish to our feelings, and we have been friends for 2 to 3 years. And I've never had a problem with her, so, you know, this did not sit well with me. So after like 2 or 3 nights that I could not take this anymore, I went ahead and took my son to go get evaluated, and with a therapist, for a mental health therapist, and they suggested that my son at least get 4 sessions of therapy, which would be $100 each.
Okay, you have a bill?
Yes, I do, ma'am, and it's right here.
Okay, while I'm getting that, what do you have to say, Ms. Collins?
Well, most of what she said was true. Yes, I've known Laura and her husband Jake and their son Reese for a couple of years. They live several houses down the street from us. And her son, Reese, is very good friends with my 11-year-old, Davis. They play all the time, and Reese had been to spend the night with us several times, never had a problem. And so she called me as a favor and said, my husband, I want to do a getaway night. Can Reese come spend the night with you? I said, we'd be happy to have him. We love Reese, of course. So I said, now the boys are probably going to a movie that night. Would that be okay? And she said, that's fine.
Did you tell her what movie?
No,
Well, what happened was, no, it was supposed to be an action film, Your Honor, and apparently they got to the theater and it was sold out. And what
So you knew what movie they were going to see?
Yes, it was an action movie. I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of it.
But it wasn't an R-rated movie?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Of course not.
So when your 17-year-old left the house with her son and your son,
They were going
to see an action movie that was PG?
It was PG, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And so apparently when they got to the theater and it was sold out, both Reese and Davis begged Devin, please let us go see Haunted Trailer Park. We hear it's really, really good. So they went. They got in. Because my son, he looks older than 17. So they got into this R-rated movie with my 17-year-old son.
So they thought he was an adult?
Yes, ma'am. So they came back after the movie, and I ordered pizza for them. They watched some video games, went to bed about 10 o'clock.
Did anyone tell you when they returned home that they had gone to see this movie?
Yeah, they were talking about it, and my boys acted like it was a lot of fun, and they enjoyed it. That's all I knew.
And what was Reese's reaction?
Well, he was kind of quiet about it. And then in the middle of the night, I heard him screaming. So I ran downstairs to see what was the matter. And my older boy, Devin, apparently had put on a clown mask and got into the boy's room to kind of just play with him a little bit and scare him. So I scolded him for it, sent him to his room. And then I realized that Reese had wet the bed.
Coming up on Justice with Judge Mablean.
When I found that he had wet the bed, I took him upstairs with me and tucked him into the guest room, said, sweetheart, it's only a movie.
The way she handled it when I called her, laughing about it, saying, you know, oh, your baby's just a sissy.
I was just saying,
no,
boys will
you
be
laughed,
boys.
and you even hung up the phone.
Excuse me.
And later,
I had no idea that I was being recorded while I was babysitting your daughter.
So you didn't know they had a video cam in the house?
They never told me they had a video
Well,
camera.
that would be pointless if they told you.
Justice with Judge Mablean. You're watching Justice with Judge Mablean. We're back with the case of Laura Johnson, who is suing Marsha Collins for emotional distress and medical bills.
When I found that he had wet the bed, I took him upstairs with me and tucked him into the guest room, said, sweetheart, it's only a movie. Devin was just playing with you. They're not laughing at you. It was only a movie.
So you tried to assure him that it was okay?
Of course, I love Reese. I mean, I love him.
So when she told you, or did you tell her that he was having these nightmares and wetting the bed?
Yes, but before that, she could at least show some consideration and gave me a call that night, regardless of if I was on vacation or not. She knows he's my only son. Yes,
Wait a minute,
I am
didn't you leave
protective of
him with her?
Yes.
Did you believe that she was responsible?
Yes, I did.
This $400 is the therapy sessions for 4 sessions.
Yes.
Where did the $80 come in?
The 80 came from, well, I tried 2 therapists which were in my network, but they didn't mesh well with Reese. And so I went outside my network, and my friend had recommended this guy, and I had to pay cash for it.
Well, when you go outside the network, don't you have to call your network provider first and get permission to go outside the network? Did you try that?
No, Your Honor, actually I didn't. I just took upon, you know, with my friend referring
But you
her
didn't
friend.
ask your primary physician to say, I need an exception to this rule of having a therapist in the network, and I need to go outside the network.
Well, actually, no, I didn't. I was just caught up in the fact that I was really just trying to get my son some help. And my
So do you
coworker.
really think that she was negligent?
I felt like she could have took care of it better with her and her son actually having communication.
Do you
Maybe
think it was purposeful?
No, I don't think it was, but the way she handled it when I called her, laughing about it, saying, you know, oh, your
wasn't
baby's just a
laughing.
sissy.
I was just saying,
no,
boys will
you
be
laughed,
boys.
and you
Had
even
she-
hung up the
excuse
phone.
me, but had she told you what happened?
If she would have, yes.
And had you known about the situation the night before, and had she explained that your son had gone to a scary movie, would it have made a difference in you getting therapy for it?
I think it would have made a little difference. I wouldn't be so mad with coming here to actually, you know, trying to sue for it. If she would have been, you know, came to a real friend and said, you know what, last night my son, you know, he messed up, he took him, and I'm sorry, you know, something like
He didn't
that. It would
mess
have
up.
been.
Reese asked him to take him to this,
Oh,
to
okay.
this movie.
Well, here's what I think. You have not given me evidence other than the fact that you took the child to a therapist that this movie caused your child to have the reaction of wetting in the bed. And I'll assume that it did have an effect upon him because he wet the bed and he was a little afraid the night before. But it was the 17-year-old that was negligent in taking the 11-year-old to an R-rated movie. This mother had no knowledge of it until after the fact. Hear me out. Had she known in advance that they were going to an R-rated movie, had she taken him or them to an R-rated movie, I would consider her negligent. But that is not what happened. Your child is normal. He's okay. He'll get over it. It'll take him a couple of days. He may wet the bed for a couple of more nights, but he'll be all right. There is no damage done. So I'm going to do judgment for the defendant.
Judge Mablean has ruled in favor of the defendant. Case dismissed.
Marcia, you know if the shoe was on the other foot, you'd be feeling unhappy like I am right now.
You know what, Laura? You've made a bad situation a whole lot worse.
Coming up.
I had no idea that I was being recorded while I was babysitting your daughter.
So you didn't know they had a video
No,
cam in the house?
they never told me they had a video
Well,
camera.
that would be pointless if they told you.
Justice with Judge Mablean. You're watching Justice with Judge Mablean. Sean and Catherine Hunter are suing babysitter Kennedy Parker in the amount of $2,650. They say the defendant engaged in a sex act caught on camera in their home. Kennedy is countersuing for $500. She claims the plaintiffs recorded without permission and the video was shared at a party.
This is a matter of Sean and Catherine Hunter versus Kennedy Parker. And I understand the Hunters are suing Miss Parker for $2,650 for emotional distress, and you want a refund of the fee you paid her for babysitting. Ms. Parker has a countersuit against you for $500, claiming that you caused her a little stress too. So let's talk about all this stress. And make sure you don't stress me out, okay? Plaintiffs. But I just need one of you at the podium, though. The other one can be seated, whoever's going to talk first. Thank you. Mr. Hunter.
Your Honor, my wife and I went on a lovely romantic getaway to New York for a weekend in February. We hired the defendant to watch our daughter. She sat for us before. There's never been a problem. After we came back, we realized that she had recorded an inappropriate video in our living room.
What was inappropriate about it? That's a conclusion. You have to give me some facts. What did the video entail?
Her and someone from the neighborhood, I don't really know very well, were making out in their underwear
No, we
on
were
my
fully
couch.
clothed.
She's supposed to be babysitting. Our daughter is upstairs sleeping, and what if she got up or something? I mean, her attention was not fully on our daughter. The following weekend, we invited some friends and family over. The defendant and her parents also came over.
Okay.
It was to watch a slideshow that my wife made, and it was to celebrate our 5 years of being married. So it was just a little intimate party, and when my wife went to play the video, the slideshow, footage of her that we captured on our home security, footage of her and her boyfriend. The source was on the wrong button, and this is what we get. So now my brother, my nephew, all these people in my living room are seeing this.
So that's what caused you the emotional distress?
Well, it was embarrassing, but I'm just angry that, you know.
But you have a claim for emotional distress.
Yes, yes.
So anger and embarrassment is one thing, but tell me about your emotions. What happened?
Well, now.
Or your wife want to tell me about it?
I'd love to.
Okay, you come forward and tell me. You have a seat, Mr. Hunter. Let's play tag team. Your turn.
Well, I mean, any mother with a 4-year-old daughter sleeping upstairs doesn't want a random male to enter the house and make out with the babysitter. I needed like weeks of therapy. We went to 5 weeks of therapy. When the video started playing, I immediately shut down and had a panic attack, and I just had to leave the room because I was so disgusted by it.
You had a panic attack?
Yeah.
And both of you went to 5 weeks of therapy?
It was
So
couples
what
therapy.
caused the panic?
Seeing 2 young children on our couch making out when he wasn't allowed in our house at all.
You've never made out as a young person.
I was never allowed to know.
And I didn't ask you, were you allowed? That wasn't the question.
Yeah, I never
Yeah,
did.
people did a lot of things they weren't allowed. Listen to my question. You didn't ever make out as a young person with somebody that you weren't supposed to be making out with in a place that you weren't supposed to make out.
Not when I'm working, no.
Coming up.
I had no idea that I was being recorded while I was babysitting your daughter.
So you didn't know they had a video cam in the house?
They never told me they had a video
Well,
camera.
that would be pointless if they told you.
You're watching Justice with Judge Mablean. We're back with the case of Sean and Catherine Hunter, who are suing Kennedy Parker for emotional distress. Kennedy is countersuing for invasion of privacy.
What was your distress? How did it stress you out? Or was it just her?
Your Honor,
They just want the money, really.
Just be quiet. Hold on.
what makes me upset is the idea that someone I don't really know was in my home while I was in another
So
state.
that's what caused you distress.
Right?
Is that there was an unknown male person in your house, and the thought of this.
Now I'm thinking
you have a
maybe he
4-year-old
saw
child.
something. Maybe he saw, ooh, what a nice television they have. What
Oh,
nice new furniture.
So you're fearful that he may come back and rob you.
Like every night I'm thinking, is he outside? Is he planning something? Maybe they're going to come by and like grab my stuff.
So is this a teenager too, a young person?
I guess
We
I
think
don't
they're the
really
same
know.
age.
That's the thing. I don't
okay,
really know
but
them.
you've talked to her about it, right?
Yes.
And you've asked her who this person was, right?
No.
Oh, let me talk to her then. Have a seat. I'm through.
thank
Hold
you.
on. Let me talk to the point. You can stay. You stay right there. Your turn.
Thank you, Your Honor. I am countersuing them because if anyone should have emotional distress, it's me. My parents were in the room, and I had no idea that I was being recorded while I was babysitting your daughter.
So you didn't know they had a video cam in the house?
They never told me they had a video
Well,
camera.
that would be pointless if they told you.
Oh.
That's the whole point, dummy. Come on now. Why would they tell you? Oh, I got a video cam watching everything that you do, so make sure you don't do anything wrong in my house.
Really? If I hadn't been, he literally only brought me dinner that night. He came in to give me dinner because they didn't have any food in the house for me at all.
How does dinner go?
We're not having that discussion. No food in the house, so
No
your friend
food in the
came to
house.
bring you
And,
dinner.
Yeah, he came to bring me dinner. He sat on the couch. He was there for like 10 minutes, which you could see from the video. And
Well, I can't see. Did anybody bring me the video?
Did you bring the video?
We don't have a video to show you, Your Honor.
You didn't bring me a video.
I don't have a copy.
So
This disgusting video that caused everybody all this emotional distress, but yet I can't see it.
Plenty of people did see it, Your Honor.
if you would see it, you would see I was fully clothed, and so was he. We've been together on and off for 3 years. He's been in the neighborhood for 3 years. So saying he's completely unknown.
That doesn't mean he knows him because he's in the neighborhood for 3 years. I don't know my neighbors, and I've been there 20.
Judge Mablean's verdict when Justice with Judge Mablean returns. You're watching Justice with Judge Mablean.
If that causes you emotional distress at 35, baby, I don't know how you're going to live to be 65. So I'm denying both your claim for the $2,500, plus you haven't proved your claim. And I'm denying your countersuit for the $500. You young people, work this out among yourselves, okay? Next time, set strict rules for babysitters. Know that. And you had the video cam to help you out, and that's why you know what she was doing. Good move. Keep the video cam going. All right. Good night.
All rise.
Judge Mablean has denied both claims. Case dismissed.
Well, if I've learned anything, it's to never hire you as a babysitter ever again.
You guys are being crazy. Like, get a life. If this really shocks you that much, that's really sad.
This has been a production.